Everyone, today we are filming part 2 of our design. We have an emblem, we have a letter, and we have an outer circle. So we did those in the first video, and now in the second video we're going to do a fill stitch in between the diamond and the circle. So let's go over to our screen, and you can see on the screen here that I'm using a Brother Dream Machine 2, and it's very similar to our Babylock Destiny. In our Destiny we have an IQ designer, and Brother we have My Design Center. So let's choose My Design Center, and it takes us to the screen that has a number of buttons that we'll be using in just a moment. But right now we just want to scan in the design we already have on our fabric. So up here, not the one that has the two flowers that says illustration, and this one is a line that would actually outline our design, but we want to actually scan our design into the design center. And it's the two flowers with the blue arrow. So we'll choose that, we will choose scan, and we will answer OK. Now, one thing you didn't see is when it first started scanning is it dimmed the lights and only the scan light is on. Okay, now the lights came back up. We will go back over to our screen, and there is our design. Now, sometimes people get concerned because from a previous setting or just how their machine is set up, they can't actually see the design. So down here we have a dark flower, a light flower with a dark green circle. Let me adjust the camera here a little bit. And we have a dark flower with a light green circle. If we go all the way to the right, it darkens our design completely. If we go all the way to the right, it makes our design disappear and shows us our stitch lines. Well, you'll notice that we don't have anything in the screen yet because we haven't actually assigned any stitches. So let's move this back just a little bit. And now we can see our design, and we've already checked, we know there are no stitch lines. So now what we need to do is we have two different properties on our machine. This area is our line property, and this is our regions property. And you can think about the line property as if you took a pencil and you're drawing lines and you're just filling those lines in. So for this particular function, because we actually have a diamond and a circle that we're working with that were done by the machine, we know that those stitches are built in. So first thing we're going to do is first go to our line area. We're going to choose our notepad, and we're going to tell it whatever stitch we're doing. Instead of a zigzag, we're going to tell it to not stitch. And the reason we're choosing that is because we want to get the diamond on there and the circle, and in this video, only thing we're doing is filling in the area between the two. So now that we know we've told it not to stitch the diamond, we'll go into our circle. Let me go back so you can see that. We have a button here that has a square on top of a circle. We will choose our diamond. We will say OK, and it gives us this giant diamond. Well, obviously that's not the same size as what we have, but now that we've chosen it, we have a new button that is illuminated, and we can adjust the size. So once we do that, we have this red box around our diamond. We can make it smaller, we can make it larger, we can shrink it just one direction or the other, or make it wider. So we're going to actually make it smaller until we get it about the size of the diamond that we already have there. So you can see it's gotten almost to be the size. Now, it looks like it's almost the right size, but it's not quite right here. So we can now use our arrows These are our movement keys. So it looks like we need to make it just a smidge smaller. There you go. Now it looks like we have it exactly on top of our stitched diamond. So let's answer OK for that. And now we still want to put a boundary line for our circle. So we want to make sure that our no stitch is on right here. We will answer OK. Now we chose that from our line region. We don't want to do it in our fill region because there would be nothing to fill in. So we went line region, no stitch, OK. Now we're going to actually go back to our square on top of our circle, and we're going to choose the circle. And we'll answer OK. And there is a circle. It's a little bit bigger than what we already have. So if you'll remember, we have our size button, and we can now make it smaller again. So it looks like it's almost the right size. Let's adjust the angle, the direction. Looks like we need to go a little bit smaller. It looks like we've got it right on top of our stitched circle. So we'll answer OK. Now what we're going to do, so we have been working with just the line area. We're going to go into the regions area, and we have a piece of paper here, and we can choose a fill stitch, we can choose a stipple, but we're going to actually choose and select a pattern. So right now, before the upgrade, we have these patterns to choose from, and I think I would like, since we have a diamond and a circle, I'm going to choose the diamond pattern and answer OK. And it shows us we have selected a diamond, and we can choose a color. Let's go ahead and change the color just to be a little bit different than what's already on the screen. So I think I'm going to assign it a dark green color. It doesn't mean I have to change the thread, it just means that I want to do that color so I can see it on my screen. And I'll answer OK. So now we're back to our main screen. In our regions box, you can see now we have this green diamond. So we can either use a paintbrush and fill in just a particular area, or we can use this one, which is you can think of it as like a bucket, and the bucket will fill the area. So we'll choose bucket. Did you notice that it turned this dark green color? If it was paintbrush, that's dark green. This one, the bucket, is now dark green. And what we would do is we would touch right there between our diamond and our circle. Now one thing we can do is come down here and we can lighten out our design. Now I accidentally touched this portion here when I was trying to do this area down here, and you're thinking, oh no, I've just messed it up. One thing I can do is now go back and use my back arrow, and that takes out the last thing that I just did. So let's go back in here, and you can see it is now showing us what our stitch will look like, and we can move forward. Let's go to the next screen. Now in this screen we can actually make our diamonds smaller. We can change their angle, and this is our outline of our diamonds. Let's adjust our size of our diamonds. Okay, we're going to reduce them down to 90%. We'll say set. I don't really want to change the angle, the direction that the diamonds are going, but let me do that for you just so you can see what it's going to look like. So it's at 0 degrees right now. Let's change it by 30 degrees. We'll hit answer set, and then we will preview before we mess with the third box. It's going to tell us that it's going to convert. didn't particularly care for that, so now we're going to go back to 0 degrees. We'll set, we'll preview, we'll say OK. Now I want you to see one thing. Do you notice that there is this line going around our diamond, and there's a line going around the pattern of diamonds? Let me show you what we want to do. Remember, we told it not to stitch that, but if you don't go into this area, it gives everything that we've just done an outline. So what we want to do is touch this, and right now our outline is on. We want to say off. And we will set that. And now what we're going to do when we preview, you will see that we have our diamond fill pattern, our outline around our diamond, and our outline around our circle has disappeared. We can actually, down here in this box, we can actually make our pattern reappear. And that's what it's going to look like. So let's say set. Okay. And now you'll see we have our red design box, and we have our green diamonds that are ready to stitch out. So let's hit embroidery and go over to the machine. Okay, now we're over at our machine, and we're going to make sure we've dropped our presser foot. We have our green button here. Now if you haven't dropped your presser foot, let me raise it a second. So if our presser foot is up, we can now, you will see we have a red button. Once we drop our presser foot, our button turns green, meaning that we are ready to start stitching. So if we're ready and we're happy with the color that we have for our thread, we'll just press the button and let it stitch. Okay, now we have our fill stitch of our diamonds, and our next video I'm getting ready to add a sashing strip here and a sashing strip at the top, and we're going to end up filling this area in with stippling. That will be part 3. Thanks for joining, and I hope you'll give a thumbs up on this video below.